Now we've got a treat now, because we have got, not only have we got James Souter, but we have also got some of the students of Te Waka Unua School, and I should pronounce it probably, I'm terribly sorry. Would you like to all come forward? We are very happy to see young people come and submit on our annual plan. How wonderful. Kia ora and welcome.
Kia ora koutou. My name is James Souter, but more important than my voice is the voice of our students. So I'm going to introduce, let the air teacher introduce herself, and then let them speak.
Kia ora, my name's Leah Haggett, and I'm a Year 5 and 6 teacher at Te Waka Unua School on Ferry Road. And these guys are some of my writing class. They wrote some pretty superb letters to a couple of the councillors in the room, and now they're here to get their voices heard. Take it away. Jacinta.
Ko Jacinta toku ingoa. All five of us are here to talk to you about the speed limit outside.
Do you want to come over? Yeah, I think as each one speaks, if you could come over to the microphone. Don't be frightened, don't be frightened. And just to say, no pressure, but the television camera's on you as well. And you'll be able to watch yourself on the internet later.
Ko Jacinta toku ingoa. All five of us are here to talk to you about the speed limit outside of Te Waka Unua School. I am a road patroller, and I have witnessed speeding cars throughout my time of being a road patroller. I feel this problem is very unsafe and should be dealt with. It is a big issue because other schools are also on a waiting list. Not just us, but the whole school of ours are very concerned. Thank you for your time. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Kia ora, thank you.
Kia ora, ko Caleb toku ingoa. I saw on stuff that 56,000 Canterbury drivers have been caught speeding on Ferry Road, and I think that is way too many. I think it is unsafe, and I think if the speed limit is reduced, then it would be much safer. So one day I was walking to school, and I was with my brother, and it was on a really foggy day, and we had already started crossing the road, and there was a car coming, and they didn't have their lights on, and they were also speeding, and I had to throw my brother back to the path, and yeah, I just think it's really unsafe. Thank you for my time.
Thank you.
Kia ora, ko Reggae toku ingoa aho. Over 56,000 Canterbury drivers have broken the school speed limit. It is putting a price on both children and adults' lives. It's not fair that we have to wait for the speed limit to change. I feel strong because we are standing up for other schools. I am not just speaking for myself, I am speaking for other schools too. I want everyone to feel safe when crossing the crossing. Thank you for my time.
You.
Ko Ella toku ingoa aho. Sorry. I am...
No. Yeah, just chat. Pretend you're just talking to me. Go on. He's the scary one. Yeah, talk to Pauline. Not Pauline's really nice.
What do you want to go next?
I want to go next.
You got the end? Never give up though. Come back.
Hello.
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 Now you have a strong view about the speed limit down Ferry Road, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, who are you?
Maya.
Nice to meet you.
How old are you?
10.
Cool. What do you think about crossing the road?
I don't know.
Do you think it's a bit dangerous by your school?
Yes.
Any other leading questions?
What's your favourite subject?
Math.
Excellent. And what would you like us to do with the speed limit outside your school?
Lower it.
Okay.
I'm gonna do Alice for it. Ko alo tuku ingoa. I have witnessed someone being hit because the speed limit was too high. Also, Isaiah Mata's mum does not let his son walk to school anymore. Because of this incident, we feel it is very unsafe. I also feel unsafe walking to school too, and I feel like when the road patrollers try and put their sign out, it is hard because they can't, or because of the speeding cars.
Well, no wonder she was going to have difficulty saying that, because that's pretty sad. And for anyone to have to see somebody being hit, you know, you're very brave for turning up. What was her name? Ella. Ella, you're very brave for coming along, and your message has really been heard. So thank you for being part of the group.
On the back of our submission, we also
Yeah.
want to introduce Jared.
Kia ora koutou. I'm speaking on behalf of Janine, who's the principal at Te Waka Unua School, and Janine is also the lead principal of the community of schools in the Linwood-Woolston area. And she's asked me today to speak in 3 minutes and 10 seconds regarding the Linwood-Woolston pool. As you may or may not recall, the schools in the area have made submissions in the last couple of years in support of the facility coming into the Linwood-Woolston area, and we noted in this draft annual plan for 2017-18 that there are funds set aside for planning and capital works over the next 3 years, and we certainly endorse that. But we're also aware that some questions have been raised in local media and have come around the council table in terms of the overall spend and pressures on spending, and questions around aquatic facilities in the city, and why perhaps $5 million is spent in this part of the city and the Linwood-Woolston pool has a price tag of around $19 million. So there's a couple of key points I'd like to make to that, and I'm going to put my glasses on in order to do it successfully. Why the facility in that community, I think, are the things that we just want to endorse. There was a feasibility study done by the council back in around 2006 that identified the need for a facility such as that in the wider Linwood-Woolston area, and that was at a time when QE2 and Centennial were both operational. So there's been a need that's been established there for some time, is the first point we want to make. I think that one of the primary attributes of the community is disadvantage and deprivation. It's second to none, and that's not a particularly good phrase to say, but it's second to none in terms of the level of disadvantage across the city. And you can see that in your own city council snapshots and profiles on some of the key attributes around income levels, employment, qualification levels, the nature of families and so on. You can see it in the deprivation index stats. You'll see it in police information around crime and antisocial behaviours in the area. There's a crying need for positive social outcomes and positive social facilities, community facilities. And I don't think anyone around the table disagrees with that, but we want to emphasise that. And the nature of that need is seen in schools every day. You know, I've been the principal of a Decile 10 primary school. When I was at a Decile 10 primary school, I may have seen child, youth and family once, twice a year, and some years I wouldn't have seen them at all. But as a Decile 2 principal in the Linwood area, I saw them every week. I saw them several times a week around significant issues around care and protection, welfare issues for children, and significant disruptions in families. Approximately 60 to 70% of 6-year-old children after their first year at school are still below the national expectations for their age in our schools in the Linwood-Woolston area. The level of intervention and support required to turn that around is substantial, and those kids do make gain. These marvellous children show positive responses to the support that they get, and the community will do that, but it needs extraordinary levels of response, and that's why that sort of $5 million versus $19 million has to be put in the context of the extent of need and the significant height of the climb that has to be made to see those positive social outcomes come. And the last very quick point we'd like to make is that your recently launched multicultural strategy sits beautifully alongside providing support in communities such as Linwood and Woolston, because 60 to 70% of the children that come into our schools are from non-European backgrounds, 30% Maori, 20-25% Pacific, significant numbers of Filipino, Indian, Fiji, Indian and others. And sure, those cultures are represented across the city, but nowhere to the extent that they are in that part of town. So the aspirations we have for inclusion and trying to meet the needs of multicultural communities, there's nowhere better to do it than in Linwood and Woolston. And you need to do it locally. Having a cool facility in the CBD for a whole lot of reasons around deprivation just does not address the needs of children and young people in those areas. There we go.
There you
so
go.
Many thanks for your time.
And you did it in the time frame. No, thank you all very much, and thanks again to the students for coming along and reinforcing that submission. And I'll just say that, you know, the first time I ever did a public speaking, and I was older than the group of you. I was 14 years old. I got stage fright. I just about passed out. I couldn't remember the first line of the speech that I had committed the first line to memory, so I didn't write it down. And it was, cigarette smoking is considered now to be the greatest single theoretically removable cause of death in society. I remember it now, but I couldn't remember it then, and I just about fell over. So, and now I'm the Mayor of Christchurch, so there you go. I think I'm looking at a future mayor. So thank you all very much for coming, and thank you for your submission, and thank you for speaking on behalf of the principal as well. Thank you, and we'll now move on to